Our final category is furniture and wooden objects. As with all objects, look at the piece carefully. Take into account areas that could be weak or loose or could split. Be cautious of what you wear. Items of clothing or jewelry such as belt buckles, watches, or rings can scratch furniture. And, as with all artifacts, wash hands before touching furniture. Lift a chair by supporting its weight at the underside of the seat rails. Never lift or move a chair by its uppermost member, the crest rail. To move an easy chair, lift by grasping each side and avoid touching the upholstery. Check for loose accessory parts and ornaments that need to be removed, and proceed with care.
So, for instance, the cartouche could usually they are secured with a screw. We're not going to remove it just in-house, but if we have to put it in a crate, we would want to remove it to prevent any damage. The finials are very often loose. This one is actually pretty stable, but if they were loose, you would want to remove them. So in order to move this high chest, we're going to need to remove all the drawers first. So we are going to use the handles to pull the drawer out, at least at the beginning. So first we need to check that they are secure.
Okay.
So we check. Here I use the gloves, since it's metal.
Okay. Now, Stephanie, why don't we grab it from the edge?
And we want to avoid that because it's fragile, and by pulling it, usually you have to put your fingernails underneath, and you run into the risk of damaging the edge, and the wood could fail. So when you pull it out, you want to put your hand underneath, one of your hands, to relieve the weight. And be careful when it comes out that it doesn't pop up. Here I would like to point out this worn area inside, and you would usually see that on both sides. Here it's more pronounced on this side, and that's a result of the drawer going back and forth and damaging the bottom. So to put it back, we want to make sure that our hand is underneath, and that obviously we check everywhere it's not gonna damage.
When replacing a drawer, place its bottom corners first and follow through by tilting its main body up and into the opening.
So we're going to open and close the doors of this desk and bookcase. So the first thing is to check that the object here is not intact. So I'm going to grab just the edge here with the bulb of my finger, not my nails, and I'm just pressing it against. So I keep one hand here to prevent this movement, and I keep one hand underneath. We're going to close the door, so you're going to start. Close the locks. Supporting the weight as you just did was perfect to prevent too much rubbing against the surface. I'm helping here to relieve the weight so that it doesn't rub.
Although a piece of furniture may appear stable, often there are risks not immediately apparent, such as swing legs, loose hinges, and movable tabletops.
This card table, it's another example of a piece of furniture with a moving part, which in this case is a back swinging leg. That's going to open to allow the opening of the tabletop. We're going to grab by underneath the rails, make sure everything under our hands is secure. I'm going to lift very slightly this side so that it doesn't rub and ease the movement of the leg. The first thing here you have to be careful of is the hinge that can not be secure and it can just drop when you open it. So you put your hand underneath. And I squeeze the two rails together to hold the swing leg. I have to tilt the top first. This latch underneath, my hand underneath the rails, and my other hand is here. Sure, the top is well attached. We're going to grab it by the base, so if I grab it here or wherever, and I can grab it here. And we are holding the tabletop. latch back. So just lifting a little bit with my arm, down, the latch back in, check it secure.
Do not handle furniture by thin, fragile legs. If legs must be grasped to avoid decorative elements, hold them as close to the main body as possible.
Usually we would just grab underneath the rails on each corner, but here we have these decorative elements that are very delicate. In this case, we can check they're secure. Sometimes they're not. The legs are also very thin and delicate. So in this case, we're going to want to put our hands here. So even though it's very light and small, it's an object to handle with a lot of